What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 207. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Leo Lopez,
What's up, people? How's it going?
Adam Vale,
What's up, suckers?
and Brett Murdoch.
What's up, people?
He'll be around, I guess. All right, couple of things here. So we want to wish a happy birthday to Mr. Chris Seeley, who's out celebrating tonight, hence why he's not here. But yeah, happy birthday to him. But yeah, because of Adam, Chris is no longer the oldest guy on the show. Adam's older than him, I think, like a year or something. You know, so like you guys are close.
How old am I? I'm 41.
Yeah,
That's
so he's 40, I believe. You know, he's got
yeah,
maybe he's older than you. I don't know.
August.
Yeah, that'd be crazy if Chris.
Wait a minute, am I one of the younger guys on the show?
Oh yeah, why do you
Yeah,
think we call you
18.
a
So
baby?
yes, you are.
Yeah, you are one of the youngest guys. Like, actually, you're like, I guess, in the middle point because I know Brett, Carlos, and Brian are in their like late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're like in your early 30s, I believe.
Mid.
Okay, mid. So yeah, but yeah, I've always considered you the young guy because there's some references that you should know, but you don't. I'm like, oh yeah, because he's too fucking young.
Oh shit! It's like that.
It's
Yeah.
the age card, man.
Exactly. All right, so yeah, happy birthday to Chris. Also, shout out to Mr. Carlos, who's enjoying his time in Korea right now. You know, he's eating all that food. He's probably going to come back fatter, you know. Actually,
And with a wife.
And with a wife. You know.
I'm telling you.
The thing is that their portions aren't that crazy over there in Korea.
No, but what if you keep going to a bunch of different places, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So what did you say he's doing?
He's in Korea eating and probably getting a wife.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you do when you go to Korea. You eat Korean barbecue and get a wife.
Oh no, yeah, no. It's you'd said something about eating food or something. I was like, that's a strange way to pronounce Korean girls.
Yeah. Oh man. What else do we got? Oh yeah. Shout out to Spooky Brandon, who won Red Dead Redemption 2 from us.
Yeah, he got that platinum already, so
Yeah.
congrats to him.
Imagine that. Yeah, and I love the way that all went down. You know, like he wanted the game, he wanted it digitally. I sent him the code, bam, he had his game. You know, within minutes.
Perfect. He got it before I did because I'm still waiting from Amazon.
Oh no.
Damn, what you could? What?
Yep.
There was no retailers near you that had that shit.
They said I just because I just did it through Amazon and they're like it just said it'll be there until further notice. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
They've dropped the ball at least a year ago on these games and living up to that 2-day and all that shit. So I don't
need it right away. I got too many things going on. So if it comes on a good time, then I'm.
But they should give you. Are you a Prime member?
Yeah.
Then they should give you the dollar credit. You know that dollar credit option where it's like, hey, you don't want it, in 2 days, then you get this dollar credit, or you get a book or music or something. You should tell them, it's like, yo, give me that then, because obviously you didn't live up to the 2-day.
Man, they never fill that shit for me.
That's what I'm saying. They've dropped the ball. It's been for a while now, especially when it comes to games.
Yeah, like if it's not a pre-order thing, they get it mad fast, you know. It's crazy. What else we got going? Oh yeah, also shout out to the co-op. I was actually on their episode 271 on Friday. I came in late because I was playing Red Dead. It's funny because in the morning I was like, hey Rich, because they invited me a couple of weeks ago to talk about Red Dead. I'm like, yeah, I'll be on. So I asked them in the morning, like, hey, you guys still gonna have the show? He's like, yeah, I'll be there. And I started playing Red Dead, completely wiped my mind. I was like, and then I took a little bit of a break and I checked my phone. I'm like, oh shit. So I jumped in there. So I was with them for like a good 30 minutes or so. We talked about a bunch of different things. Good episode. Go check them out. It was a little kind of like this episode, a little bit smaller. It's just me, Rich, and Gary, talking about games, man.
Because everybody playing Red Dead, yo.
Pretty much, And then last thing, I did this on the co-op. I'm gonna do it here. I also want to give a shout out to our good friend J-Dub City 16, also known as Kratos. He is currently in Twitter jail right now because of a bunch of X-bots that decided to report him for a stupid reason, And it's crazy because J-Dub, this guy, okay, I don't know what this man does for a living, but let's just say he has fancy ass like sports cars, and he actually gives away consoles every month. He gives out Xbox One X's that he buys with his own money. These are $500 consoles that he's buying every month. for the Xbox community. But these guys got triggered because he was because the thing is, even though he does that sort of stuff, he also likes to poke fun at them because they're idiots. Let's just be honest, you know. But yeah, they decided to report him, and he's in Twitter jail right now, which really sucks, you know.
But what did they report him for?
For a specific tweet. The thing is, yeah, like I understand how that tweet could get you. I'm not going to repeat it here, but it could get you. But the thing is, okay, he made a tweet that could be definitely seen as like homophobic. But the thing is, the guys that are reporting him have said way worse stuff, and they're still on Twitter, which is interesting.
It's just the way it is, man. It's whoever they get, it happens in the real world.
Yeah, like if you look at all his tweets, it's like you could tell, okay, this guy's joking. These other guys, they're dead serious with the stuff they're saying, but that's the way it is. But, Twitter jail means he'll be let out eventually. He's not banned,
I hear it's I hear there's been a lot of people that have been getting that sort of stuff for like minor things.
Oh yeah.
How do you get verified?
Oh, verification is not a one-way street. Like from my experience, it seems to be, and I'm speaking. Remember, I'm verified. It seems to be who you know more than anything. Because I know people that have way bigger accounts than me that are not verified. I know people that are way smaller than me that are verified like that. It kind of comes down to who you know, which is weird. Like I mainly got verified because everybody else in my company is verified.
I heard that you have to, I think it gives you a license number or something like that. It's because it's really just to verify who you are. It's not that you're someone big. It's just that you are who you say you are.
You do need to be somebody of like importance to the community. They flat out say that. Whatever community you're representing.
Why?
Yeah, because that's the way it is.
I just know people that are verified that aren't. They just verify because that's who they are.
Well, they know somebody. I'm telling you, man.
If they worked at some place or something like that, then they can get some sort of verification. Or if their company vouched for them, then they could also get a verification as well.
Yeah, Barry Burns says he's not verified, but he's certifiable. Yeah, no, you're right. If you work for a big company, you have an easier time of getting verified.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, we have Brett's soapbox in the chat room right now.
Uh-oh.
We're late, dude. We're minorities, man. This is what we do. We're always late. Like I know it says 10:30, but it's really like 10:45, 10:50. That's when we start. It's been like that for years. Don't be surprised. Anyway, let's answer some questions. And I purposely I'm going to use one of Manny's favorite words, reconfigured the word, the sentences here or the questions to be about Red Dead because we got a lot of them, but they were scattered. So I'm like, let me just put them all up front. All right, so the first one is from Let's Make Possible, who is a first timer. So welcome to you, sir or madam. All right, so they go, obviously, based off this comment, they do definitely watch this. He goes, another great show. I'm looking forward to Red Dead game night when you jump on Adam's horse and tell him to drive into town and you'll ride off a cliff. Yep.
Funny because, as you know, before the show started, that happened to me. I was running from the law, and I went off a damn cliff. I'm like, yo, I haven't seen a cliff in I don't know how long, and here it is. I go flying off with my butter horse, and I was like, yo, fuck this, and I rage quit. And when I came back, he was back. His name is Opie. So
yeah. By the way, that's how I lost my butter horse, and I never got him back because I didn't know the trick.
Just rage quit. Once you see him die, and go.
I lost my main horse, man. I want to see if I get him back because it was one of those horses that you go with the Ultimate Edition, and I raised them up. I got to level 4, with the whatever the bonding shit. Motherfucker died, man.
My guy is dirty, grizzly. I bathed once because we talked about that. I did bathe, but after that, I was like, yo, I'm not following the rules in this game. I'm just gonna live my life. If you stink, whatever. I stink. It's the Wild West.
Nah, man. I bathe for a specific reason. I'm like, I go every bathhouse. I'm like, let's go. I keep myself clean, baby.
Man, I mean, there's so much to do in that game. There is so much. It's almost overwhelming if you think about it.
Yeah. Oh, we actually have a question about that. We have a question about that. Let's get into it. But the first one is not about that. It's what do you guys think will be the standout feature that separates Red Dead Online from GTA Online? Brett, I'm going to toss this one to you first since you're very interested in Red Dead Online.
Horse testicles.
Yes. Horses are it though. It's like, yeah, horses.
Well, I think there's going to be more of a survival element to it than we're used to with GTA. And I'm gonna compare this directly to GTA because it's not going to do anything new that no game has done. But I think some of the survival elements that are in the game will translate to online. I do look forward to seeing ridiculously fat people who just run around and like. Hopefully they'll have those same customization kind of things. So if you eat a whole bunch, you get huge and fat. So you be big fat smelly dude running around, and I'm sure a bunch of people will want to do that, and other people will tailor their characters more to them. There's also a sort of you're limited in GTA to where a lot of infrastructure is built. I see a lot more free roaming going on. Like you see people free roaming in GTA, but it's certain parts of the map a lot of times, or certain streets or runways or things like that. I personally am looking forward to not having like the big orbital, like playing GTA without having to worry about giant fucking orbital cannons or huge tanks rolling down the street. Like, yeah, you can get a really good rifle or something like that, but GTA has slowly just kind of fallen prey to what I like to call the Dragon Ball Z power creep, to where at a certain point you just look up and you're like, when did everything get fucking ridiculous? So this is a good opportunity for them to reset that. But I think at the end of the day, I don't know if it's going to be as big as GTA is because you can't buy all the different cars. You can't buy, rocket launchers and shit like that. And for people who are just looking for...
Well, not yet.
Well,
I'm sure later on we're going to have some craziness, when they make
we'll
it
eventually
wackadoodle.
get there.
Because if you look in the app, you can buy stuff in the app, and it pops up in your inventory. So you can go buy outfits and gear. And all
I believe
stuff.
that. I'm just saying the stuff that you buy, like you won't be able to buy like, orbital death cannons and Red Dead.
Yeah, I was about to say that. No airstrikes and shit like that,
Yeah, so I feel like to a certain extent, like the game itself is a little bit more mature than Grand Theft Auto is.
Yeah.
In the sense that like Grand Theft Auto, we all love it, but it is a little bit sophomoric in the way that like, oh look, giant fucking dildo, ha 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 ha. Like Red Dead takes a little bit more grizzled, kind of adult, gritty approach to things, and so I think it'll be the same. In GTA Online, you'll see people, flying planes into buildings and flipping cars and shooting everything that passes. I think in Red Dead Online, you'll see a little bit slower type, more deliberate type of gameplay. Like I think you might see people, like actually finding, certain paths or crossroads and sticking up, people who come by or things like that. I'm interested to see if they do any kind of mechanic to, like, bounty mechanic or something like that, something to rein in the pure unadulterated chaos that GTA encourages. But I don't think it fits as well in the Red Dead world. So basically, I guess the short version of that is expect a slower, more adult version of GTA Online. Personally.
Yeah, no, but I mean, that's kind of how the other Red Dead Online was. It was just a slower GTA. You couldn't go crazy,
Well, you couldn't go crazy, and I think like they're, especially from what I've heard about Red Dead, I've literally only gotten to play one mission, but it's going for depth and nuance. So I think the idea, like, yes, you still may have like crazy people who just run around and shoot at each other, but I think you might actually see players, at least for a little while, get drawn into the idea of building tension or standoff, or like, going like. At first, you'll see people actually using bars and shit to like play cards or whatnot with each other, or, go get drinks and like hang out. Eventually, it'll turn into, yeah, you just run into the saloon and shoot everybody because everybody's a troll. But I don't think it's going to start that way. And though that first little bit before it gets super trolly and terrible, I think it's going to be the best bit. It usually is.
Yeah, I remember when the other online started. On day one, it was already like that. People were already going crazy. Yeah. They already went ham. For day one, they already went crazy.
Just load in and somebody just runs up on a horse and starts shooting at me. I'm like, what?
Yep.
I just got here.
Man, so, I look forward to I look forward to reenacting my glory days. Like I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but I'll say it again. One of my favorite things about the original Red Dead Online mode was the fact that it had kind of a VoIP chat, so you could hear other people talking in the server. My favorite thing to do in that game was to get on my donkey, and I rode a donkey out of principle. I could have had a better horse, but I didn't want one. I'd get on a donkey and I'd trail a couple people because people usually came in groups of like 2 or 3 looking to do some kind of mission. So I'd just hop on my donkey and I'd trail them until eventually game nighttime hit. And then I would orient myself. I'd find the moon and I'd find them and I'd place myself between the moon and them and then find the highest peak that I could stand on. And I'd just stand on it, making a silhouette of a man on a donkey until I hear them on their headset go, "The fuck is that?" And then I'd come charging down the mountainside, shooting at everybody, and then just murder people relentlessly.
On a donkey.
On a donkey. But then here's the beautiful part. I'd disappear, and I'd hear them on their headsets going, "What the fuck was that all about?" I don't know, man. Like, let's just get back to the mission. And then again, I position myself, and then I hear, like, "There's that motherfucker on the donkey again!" Like, just silhouetted by the moon. So, like, you know,
well, that's something I noticed in this one. They don't have that moon. They don't have the brightness of the stars. I know what you're talking about, and that was awesome. This doesn't have that.
Yeah, it does. What are you talking about?
When it gets dark, it gets dark.
No,
like,
there's a shit ton of stars. What do you just look up? They're right there.
That's the thing. You didn't have to look up before. It was just like reflective. It was almost like a spotlight.
Just look up. There's a big ass moon, big bright moon, and a ton of stars. They're all
he's
there.
saying the light was brighter in the old one. Like now, nighttime feels more dark. Before it felt just kind of like a blue version of daytime.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because it gets fucking dark in this game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that in the last one. The last one didn't really matter because it sort of reflected against the ground. It was still kind of bright.
When the moon was out, you could actually see things.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. You're right about that. Because I'm not to spoil, but I did go into like a big city in this game, like paved roads and everything. You can't see, like, if it's not under night like a night lamp, you can't see shit. Yeah. It's crazy.
What I don't know, I mean, you've gone further. I don't know if that's something you get because you get all kinds of items. I forgot that I even had binoculars for the longest time.
They got them.
Like, oh wait, but then you should have a torch or something that you can.
You have a lantern. You have a lantern. Yeah, you have a lantern. You can use.
Oh,
that.
You do have that?
Oh yeah.
It's already with you, or you have to get that?
No, it's there with you. I learned that. I had to look it up online because there was a mission where I had to go into a cave, like bring out your lunch. I'm like, what the fuck? What lantern? What are you talking about? So I had to look it up. I was like, yep, sure enough, there was a lantern. I never bought it or anything. It's just part of your inventory.
So much shit, man.
It's crazy, bro. I love it. It's great, but I think Brett, you pretty much nailed it.
Great. Good night, folks. We're off to play Red Dead.
Yeah, that's it, man. We'll see y'all next
time.
Good
night. Wrap it up.
Red who? What's that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Your red, Manny's like
God
red
of
shirt
War with Cowboys, Manny.
Yes.
What do you mean? I mean, I'm in the far past. I'm in Norse mythology world.
Yeah. Just look up.
A totally different game.
By the way, Carlos is actually joining us in the chat room right now.
Derp!
Yeah. Derp! Yeah. He asked, should he get the game on the X or the Pro? Get it on whatever system you want, man. That's all I'm saying.
But because you saw the whole report about that it's having some issues on the PS4 Pro, and it runs better on the X.
Yeah, Xbox is like native 4K or whatever.
Yeah,
it's funny because I'm playing
native 4K,
native 4K.
It runs better. But they said actually the issue with the Pro seems like something that needs to be patched. It looks like it's.
What's the issue? Because I've been playing. I haven't found any issues at all. Do I need to play it on a 4K in order for that to pop up?
It's supposed to be the view, the depth. It's one of those things.
I haven't had any.
The checkerboarding isn't working correctly, supposedly.
Interesting. Because I'm playing on 1080p TV, so I may not even notice that.
Yeah, you're not doing it on 4K.
Well, I'm playing on 4K. But I haven't noticed, but then again, my eyes are fucked up as is, so maybe it is all jacked up, and I don't even notice.
Okay.
Man, great. So
that's it. So sorry, that's right. I know why I don't see it because the issue was with the HDR. The HDR.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, I don't have HDR.
Right. And I turned off. Remember, I turned off my HDR because I knew some games were fucking with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have scaling, so it's just like super bright or super dark. There's no in between, and I was like, "Fuck this!" So I turned it off. But yeah, that was the issue. I just looked it up. The issue was with the HDR.
Yeah. All Day says he forgot to tell his horse to follow him and had to run back to camp. Yeah, that happened to me on the stream. Yeah, and I was like, "Fuck my horse! I don't know where he is." You know,
Just rage quit. When
I
you
don't
come
rage
back,
quit,
he's right
man.
next to you.
I live with my mistakes,
Nope.
man.
No, you don't
know?
need to win the video game world. That's the
So
thing.
wait.
We already have the real world for that day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you can't just whistle and your horse just magically hears you and teleports to you.
No, like if your horse has to be a certain distance away from you.
I mean, I kind of like that. Like, don't be wrong. I like having a horse in a lot of these games. Like but like there are points in Odyssey I'm like, oh, like whistle for the horse, and the horse is just like, hey, here I am. Like, what? Were you just behind that bush this whole time?
You can give him commands to hide. That's the funny shit. I'm like,
I didn't
what?
even know
can tell
that.
him
What?
Yeah, flee, and he was like, go, ball, go. And
How
then
do
he
you
just,
give
like,
course
runs off.
commands? Yeah, where are you finding that? You watch a lot of videos, man. I don't really
I
know
do,
any of
but
this.
when you're walking away from the horse, press the left trigger and look at him, and you'll see all these other commands pop up.
Yeah, I seen those. Yeah,
Yeah, and
but
I guess
I
as
only
you
see
level
like
them up,
grooming, feeding, petting, and that's it. That's all I see.
You don't ever see like follow and stay and
No.
all that. And one of them is to flee off. So
They
if there's a
could be there. I
gunfight,
just
he
haven't paid
doesn't get
attention.
shot.
But yeah, Brett. Let's say for example,
Adam.
yeah, Adam has the butter horse. That's what it is.
That's it. I do.
Are you sure you don't have a golden retriever?
Yeah, right.
Nope, right. I wish I could have a dog because you have dogs in the game. You see dogs.
Yeah, but Brett, that's what happens. Let's just say you do a mission in a town, and then, like, let's say you leave your horse in a town, you go do a mission, and you end up on the other side of the map. Your horse ain't gonna hear you because he's literally still in that fucking town.
Or if you hitched him,
You know?
that's it. You tied him up, he's staying there.
And I always hitch him. You know, I'm like, oh, here you go.
Because
So-
they heal faster if you hitch them.
Yeah, that's why I always hitch him. But then again, if you start another mission, your horse will magically be back. You know.
One issue, and I don't know how they're gonna figure this out. Maybe somebody here knows, maybe not. But I found another horse. There was a guy, he died, and he had a horse, and he had all kinds of goodies on it. But I couldn't figure out how to get the goodies off the saddle and on. It's like, oh, dismantle, but it didn't give me an option to like just take the stuff. But I already have my own saddle full of stuff, so I'm like, shit. How do I just take the stuff off? I don't know. It's weird. But
Yeah, all right, man.
I could
Let's answer the next question, man. We still got a lot. Hashling Slasher. So his first question is: there are a lot of negative reviews on Metacritic for Red Dead 2 where people stated they already have 12, 16, or 20 hours in the game. These reviews were also published on the day the game came out, so they're obviously false and have no point in being on the website. My question is, should review sites have it so that you can connect your PSN/gamertag to your profile so that people can see how long you've played the game and what achievements you have to add a sense of validity to the user reviews? Right, just a couple things.
Yes.
But before we answer that main question, a lot of the bigger sites got the game a week beforehand, so you can't say that the reviews that went up on that day were false. They're not false. They've been playing them for a week. You know what I'm saying? As for the second part of the question, Brett already said yes. I don't. Brett, explain why. Go ahead, because I.
But there's sites that do that already.
Some do.
They give you an option to sign in. And
Oh,
it's like, you want a link?
hold on. He said user reviews. Oh yeah, they're fake as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Wait. Okay. So Brett Soapbox is Hashling Sizer. So you're asking not for professional reviews. You're asking for like regular ass reviewers.
Yeah, he's
Fuck
saying that
yeah.
the people
This game got
reviews on
brigaded and
Metacritic.
trolled.
Yeah. Oh no. If you're a user, yeah, you better post that shit. You know, you're gonna come in there. You know, like if you post your review a week afterwards, you don't have to. But if you're doing a day of, yeah, I agree. I completely agree. See, with like professional writers, that I could understand you need some anonymity. But if you're just some regular schmo, put your shit up there. You know?
Yeah, like for example, I have some
Yeah.
people.
Okay.
In it.
What happened,
You-
Brett?
If you're a reviewer, you're putting your name to that.
Yeah.
You're putting your real name to that. That's way bigger than putting your fucking gamer tag next to something. So, like, if you're professionally reviewing something, no, I understand. Don't put your handle up on there. But yes, like Steam already does this, and it works really well. Because I can't tell you how many times I don't even look up ratings on video games. The ratings are just basically a quick glance aggregate guide. It's like looking at a bar chart or a flow chart. Like, yeah, it's going to give you the basic idea, but then you look into it and you're like, okay, so let's see some of these motherfuckers who gave it 1 star. And like you read it and you're like 256 hours. And you read it, they're like, they just didn't implement the things they wanted to implement. Like, okay, so you're disappointed in what this game ended up being after it didn't have enough content to keep you playing after 260 hours. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm not going to discount your opinion, but I'm going to kind of say it middles out. You say it's terrible, but you played it for 300 hours. I'm going to take that as an average. I kind of a C average. I kind of liked it. You know, there's like I could say all kinds of shit about like Ark or DayZ or one of the 1,000,001 early access janky fucking games that I had a blast playing. Yeah, I have criticisms and critiques and complaints out the fucking ass. There's so many things that can be done better. And honestly, if you asked me to review it to somebody, I'd probably tell you, like, if you're asking me on the show, like, okay, so you loved Ark, like, give us a quick breakdown, a quick review. Like, I wouldn't give it like 10 out of 10, especially if I'm trying to review it for other people. I'm like, you guys may not like this. There's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of shit to work around, but at the heart of it, it's a really fun game. So I might only give it a 7 out of 10 when I'm reviewing it if they're asking for a number. But then you look at my thing and be like, dude, you played like 400 hours of this. Like, well, yeah, because I can look past the bugs and see, like, it gives you a more nuanced approach. Like, there are games that have shortcomings, but if you can overlook those shortcomings, there's hundreds of hours and tons of awesome content. Look at Brian. Brian loves Dragon's Dogma. There's a lot of people that just didn't key in on that game. I'm one of them. For me particularly, it's The Witcher, although a lot of people will disagree with me on that. So there's a very good reason to see, like, if somebody gave somebody an average score and played it for a very long time, or a very low score and only played it for 2 hours, or versus a low score and played it for 200. Like, they're very telling. And you only get, when you're on a site like Metacritic, which distills things down into numbers, like, it's useful to see the tone. I can tell you there's a lot of games that I've even seen on Steam that, like, they're quality games, but then they're tanking drop because the developer isn't putting out the updates that they were promising or something like that. Like, the community becomes mad at the game or the developers, and you can see that. And then you have the option to, like, look into it and see, like, well, why are they mad? Oh, because they're 6 months late on this big update patch that they were supposed to put out. And everybody who owns the game says, well, I really expected more from them, and if they can't release an update on time, this game isn't worth playing. They're being big crybabies about it. So context is important, I guess, is what I'm saying. Context is hugely important. And all you're doing by putting your name, your achievement and time played on your review is adding context to your review. So yeah. I don't see somebody convince me of a good reason why you shouldn't, is, I guess, my thing. Like, there's every reason in the world to. I don't see any reason not to.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't think this is going to be one of those things where we're going to disagree. I'm like, yeah, if you're a user, yep, you better have all that shit there. And Steam already does it. It has your, a gamer tag, obviously, and your hours. I love that. It's like, this guy's talking all this shit. How many hours you put into it? Oh, 3 hours? Yeah, I'm not going to listen to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it's really up to the site then to incorporate that, because a lot of sites,
I'll be honest, I don't listen to a lot of those user reviews for sites anyway. Like, the thing comes out day one and they already have their reviews. Like, how
because there's day one, a lot of times there's a little bit of agenda behind it, because they either like the game a lot, they like the series or whatever about the game so much they want to start writing all kinds of somewhat fake reviews for them to get the score up.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, I can tell you right now, though, I mean, from what we've played, this game is not for everyone. I mean, if you don't have a long attention span, you're not going to want to do this. If you just want to go in, just be crazy cowboy, you can try to do that. It'll let you to a point, but then it'll still put you on path of like a deep story. And
it's slow.
It's a slow burn type of game. It's a slow burn type of game.
Dude, that's how many
that's
times
the beautiful part of it.
No, it's definitely, you can immerse yourself in the world. Like, all right, sit back, almost like watching a good movie. You know?
Man.
Like, all right, but not everybody's into that. You know what I mean? So
I'm really looking forward to, because I've talked with you guys before about how I think more than anybody on the show appreciates the mundane qualities of a video game. Like, I like sitting by the campfire, like waiting for daytime to come up and fixing your weapons. A lot of people are like, well, like, can't I just fast travel till morning? Like, well, that kind of takes some of the fun out of it, in my opinion. Like, I love the mundane stuff, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but I really feel like this game is taking that concept and making it palatable for a wider audience and exporting it. I think this is one of the first games where you're really going to see that just the mundane and the minutia add to the gameplay. So when it's fast and frantic, it's fast and frantic, but then there's good stretches of just relaxing, trapping some rabbits, and look at that sunset. Because we've come to the point in gaming where we can render beautiful sunsets. Like, and I get that we've had good graphics before, but like, man, if you stop and just let the ambiance and the visuals and the music and the way everything ties together just wash over you sometimes, like, I think we're so fast as gamers to burrow through content that we sometimes don't stop and do that. Because I noticed a huge difference between, like, look at the way a cinematic or something like that walks you through a level, the way that they slowly walk around and pan so that the light hits all the fields correctly and the sun rises over the mountains, and then play literally any multiplayer game and watch people just dead rush for the arrow, not looking at anything. Like, I don't think a lot of us actually sit down and enjoy those small moments of video games, and I think Red Dead
I do.
Man, he does. I do as well. Like, I'll stop and put moments where you're clearly supposed to be running and be like, God damn, look at these columns, man. But I think Red Dead is set up in a way that it's really trying to push the general player base to be like, just take a minute and stop and feel what it's like. Like, there's a buck out there, and the sun is going down, and the wind is blowing, and you can hear the quiet. Like, even in just some of the little bits that I've played, like the way that they use silence and quiet in the game is almost, it's kind of profound because you're just so used to there always being something or it feeling dead, and they kind of really use it to kind of bring home this idea of vastness or being in the wilderness kind of. So I think it's going to be palatable. I think it's going to be something very new to a lot of people, though.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I'm usually a guy who just wants things to be done fast. But with this game, I like the fact that I could just take it slow, take it all in, because that's how people used to do shit back in the time it's portraying. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yeah, everything's slower. You got to take things slower. So I like that aspect of it. All right, let's move on to the next question. Oh yeah, but anyway, user reviews, they're bullshit. Yeah, whatever. All right, next one. Will you pick up Red Dead 2 when it inevitably comes to PC and next generation consoles to see its potential on more powerful hardware?
Don't say that, because the first one did. The first one still isn't on PC.
Shit. I think he's using more GTA 5 as the example, which I believe is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it'll come out just to support the online mode.
It just doesn't make sense, because that was still available at the time, and they just never bothered bringing it over.
Yeah, I think this one will come to PC, though. But the thing is, like, I'm not going to get it just because, I want to see it with pretty graphics. I'm going to look stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I've been saying this type of shit for 20 years. I never learned my lesson, but I'm going to keep saying it anyway. I don't see how the graphics of this game can possibly be topped, so I'm like, do you need it to look prettier? Like, how prettier can it look?
Grand Theft Auto doesn't look that much better than PC.
It has more grass and stuff, and the lighting is better. But yeah, I don't really see how you can make this one look better. But I'll definitely get it just because I love supporting Rockstar. I love everything they do, so I will definitely get this on PC. I'm not gonna touch that PC version, but I'm gonna buy it anyway because I want to support the company. But I definitely will buy it for
just buy a collector's edition or something like
that.
No,
I like to give them. I like giving them my money day one. That's how it is with Rockstar, man.
Okay,
I'd rather they do a dumbed down version for Switch. That's it. I'll take a dumbed down version than a pumped up version.
Wow. And then for next gen, obviously there's not going to be a lot to buy. They're in early days. Sure, I'll buy Red Dead 2 again, just like I bought GTA again.
Nope, I would not buy. Once is enough. I've already bought the game. I'm not going to buy a multiple of a game for PC.
Right. So I'm the odd man out, right? Just making sure no one's going to buy it.
I'll buy it again for next gen console.
Yeah,
because I personally think that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, we all want to see the leap to next gen.
How do you know that the next gen
version? Remember with PC when GTA 5 showed up to PC, it wasn't just because it was upgraded graphics. It offered first person view. That was the thing, and it came with the editor, so it came with some new bells and whistles with it. And that's when I picked it up and I finished it again on PC for that in first person.
It has first person on PlayStation as well.
But it showed up on PC first, because I remember that was a big deal. But this already has first person. This has all that stuff.
And it works in VR. Brett, how come you're not in VR playing that game?
Playing which game?
Red Dead. It works.
Red Dead's in VR?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I didn't
know about that either.
Yeah. Manny has secret information.
He got inside source shit.
By the way, can you guys verify that? I don't think that's true.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That sounds fishy. Yeah. I think Manny's trolling us.
I want to see prettier graphics, especially like if you're like, okay, I need something that is my fallback game, and everybody here knows I'm a big advocate of your fallback game, that's going to be Red Dead Online. Quite frankly, I think I'm at least in the camp where Red Dead's probably going to replace GTA Online for me, because I'm sick of going so fast. The screen is an entire blur, and everybody's got an attack helicopter and calling down fucking. You turn around and there's an air missile. Like, at least that makes more sense in the Wild West. Like, oh, you turn around, some bandit is trying to shoot you from behind a rock. Well, that's the Wild West, bitch. Deal with it. Like,
yeah.
It's not. I can deal with the chaos much more in the slowed down version of Red Dead than I can with GTA. And I know that there's a bunch of people, youngsters especially, that are going to stay to the bright, frantic, chaos that is GTA, and I'm okay with that. But at least I'm the kind of guy that I'm probably going to play GTA on and off online, or excuse me, Red Dead Online on and off for at least a few years. And it's kind of nice when you see a new console come out to be able to directly compare it to something you're used to see the jump in quality. So in theory,
yeah, I was going to say, and if it's like PS3 to PS4, our progress should carry over too. You know what I'm saying? The online portion.
Exactly. So you're just looking at it and be like, dude, this looks so much better. Like, oh my god.
Plus, we're gonna play that one together anyway. So yeah, to me, getting it on Next Gen is just a practical thing. PC, I'll get it, but I'll wait for a fucking super discount like I did with GTA. I think I bought GTA for like $20. I'm like, fucking may as well buy it, But I'm not gonna play it, Like that, I'll definitely get it for Next Gen for sure, What about Adam? No for you, right?
It's got to come with something. It's got to offer something different. It can't just because it's prettier. That doesn't do it for me anymore. Because if that's the case, then I would just go PC all in. You know what I mean? Because it's always like that. And that's not what I play games for. I play for the experience. I play for the social aspect. I like all the other things that people don't like. I mean, Chivos, trophies, that's fun to me. That's a game within a game. There's a lot of people that don't understand that. I'm like, oh, it's a waste of time. No, it's not, because a lot of those you have to work for and do certain things that you normally wouldn't do in a game to get, and that makes it fun.
Yeah, and then when you have your own collection, you want to keep it going. This is why I don't play this. Like I said, my PC, it kills both of my consoles. I still play on consoles because I like those achievements. I like trophies. You know what I'm saying? PC doesn't really have that. I know they have like Steam achievements. Those things suck. I don't care about those.
And the other issue is a lot of games, because I have a big Steam collection, but then there was a lot of games that were just from Ubisoft that are not part of the Steam universe. Same thing, or like EA, a lot of their sport games. They took FIFA and other things years ago off and never put them back. So it's like, so now I have to have a different list, and everybody wanted to make their own game service and have their own little launcher. It was annoying. So I was like, no, I want everything in one spot.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll move on here. Okay, both Glorious War, our boy Hussein, and All Day asked similar questions. So I'm going to read both of their questions, and then we're going to get into it. All Day goes, have you guys ever had any problems with the movement in Rockstar open world games? And Glorious War says, do you think that Rockstar gets a pass in the industry because this game has worse controls than GTA 5 and Max Payne 3? Do you think if any other game had this bad third-person shooting, they would get a 90-plus rating? Whoo, a lot to dissect there. First up, go ahead, Adam.
Only because I was talking with All Day yesterday. We were playing and we were talking about. He was like, "Yo, this fucking game, this guy moves so damn slow. This and that." And I get it, but they're trying to go with the realism. He's not a young guy, and they add a lot of animation to it. Like even when he goes to crouch, it's a slower motion for him, And I guess they're just trying to make it more realistic. He's not, doing super hurdles and stuff like that, and sprinting down the street and sliding. I mean, yeah, it sort of moves sluggish, but then it's because it's an older guy. That's the way I see it. I think that's what they're going with.
Yeah, I don't see it like that. I mean, I that is a good way of seeing it, but this guy controls to me like every other third person in a Grand Theft Auto type of game. But that's the way Rockstar controls are. They're a little bit slower than other games. Let me hold up, finish. I know, Brett, you're about to go off, and but yeah, they're a little bit slower. I can understand the criticisms, but I personally have never had any problems with them. But I could see where people are coming from. But I disagree that they're bad controls. If they were bad controls, the game wouldn't be selling as big as it is now. You know what I'm saying? Like the game, like if those controls were really, really bad,
I don't know. Some games with bad control have gotten
like,
good.
Bully had horrible controls.
Which one?
Oh my god, Bully
didn't sell like GTA.
No, but I know. I'm just saying, like when it comes to Rockstar and their games, they're not all made out of gold. Like that one, shit.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm saying, but I'm talking about the big selling GTA games. Like GTA, people are still playing online. They're not complaining about the controls. You know what I'm saying?
Here's another thing, just to link with the control issue, that some people are linking as controls, meaning with the menus and all the shit that you have to do in this game, as those are controls. There's a lot to do with that left bumper. That left bumper does a lot, and then the fact that I think there's not many games that do this, where you have to press the left bumper and then press the right and left triggers to do a sub menu within a menu. There's a lot. There's a lot going on in this.
Yeah, typical Rockstar stuff, though. You know. Anyway, go ahead, Brett, because I know you're exploding.
This isn't a shooter. It's not a third-person shooter. It is an adventure game. The appeal of the game.
Is it an adventure game?
Yes, it is an open-world adventure.
So you point and click, right?
Yes, you do.
No,
but that's a different one. Point and click. Say point and click adventure game. This is an adventure game. Like Tomb Raider is an adventure game.
That is an adventure game.
Yeah,
it's not. It has shooting in it, but that is not the core foundation of what the game is built on. And I realize its pedigree might even suggest otherwise, but they're focusing on like how much you bathe and your ability to get fat and grow a beard and character interactions. This thing is halfway into RPG status. And honestly, it's not that it gets a pass because it's Rockstar. It gets a pass because it's an open, immersive, living, breathing world whose fundamental mechanics are not primarily based around the shooting mechanics. The controls of the game aren't bad. I think what they're talking about is the shooting mechanics, the shooting controls of the game. Like, yeah, it's not a third-person shooter, but it's also not a third-person shooter. It's not supposed to be that.
Here's the thing. As a person who hasn't played this game before, I kind of know what this guy's talking about, because in general, Rockstar Games kind of control sluggishly, and they do get the pass despite as many glitches and all kinds of other things that go on.
GTA gets the pass because,
I think maybe he's just feels like this is also a genuine problem. This is a genuine problem in previous of Grand Theft Auto games. I've never Grand Theft Auto, even the previous Red Dead, they didn't control amazingly.
Well, no, but that's the answer. Like, if I came to you and I was like, dude, GTA is not like control wise, it's not the most solid shooter, and you're like, well, yeah, but it's not just.
I'm not even talking about shooter. I'm just talking about walking around the goddamn world.
I don't really. So what's the problem? That he moves too sluggishly, or like you can't?
Yeah, I think that happens. Like, in other words, just the character doesn't move as fast as you would want them to do. You go in one direction, and they're kind of they kind of meander somehow, because it seems like they're reacting way later than how fast you're hitting the controls. I mean, granted, as far as horse controls, they're probably going with a little bit more of a like the horse is almost its own entity, so it takes a while for a horse to kind of turn and stuff like that, which is fine. But I do definitely think that in general, Rockstar Games don't control amazing.
No, they don't. No one's saying that, but I push against the fact that people say they control horribly. They do not control horribly. They control horribly. No, I wouldn't be playing these fucking games, but they definitely don't control but again, you have to take it in different pieces. Like, yeah, have you played better games with better third-person shooting? Yes, I have, but is this game, like Brett said, a third-person shooter? No, it is not. You got to take the sum of its parts and all that. And I'm going to say it right now, even though this game is not, like, third-person shooting is not as good as it is in other games, to me, it is still very good third-person shooting. I can still get behind cover. I can still shoot guys. I don't really have any issues with get behind cover and all that shit. Yeah, I've played better, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's a big deal. My only things, and this is where I could kind of understand where people are coming from, is when you're like walking around in a tighter space. That's when the problems kind of start to crop up. It's like, hey, pick this up, but if you turn slightly off, you can't pick it up anymore. I can understand that, but if you're out in the world, to me, like, especially driving in these games, horses or cars, excellent. No, there's no issues at all.
Let me ask you this. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I've noticed people complaining on both ends. So what do you want? Do you want the Elder Scrolls approach or the Bethesda approach, where when you step backwards, your character steps backwards and strafes, which causes the animation of the character to sometimes react in a goofy way that a lot of people say is weird? Like, a lot of people bitch about the third-person mechanics of Fallout and Skyrim because they say it's not super realistic. So the way that they get around that, instead of having your bottom torso or your torso and your legs kind of moving independently and trying to connect the animations, they kind of set you on this guide rail where instead of stepping backwards or strafing left, it automatically hooks you into a close-knit U-turn. which is what GTA does. And I've noticed other games do that. And then you have problems in small spaces because you can't move backwards or forward. You're like an RC car that can only go in circles. So you end up like kind of like Detroit Becoming Human was kind of the same thing. Like you couldn't just step back or sidestep. You had to like spin around in a little circle. And so when you went pulled back on the joystick, you kind of spin backward and to the left. That I think is the exact same thing they're talking about that all Rockstar games kind of do. So which is it? Which do you want?
Yeah. Again, I'm speaking for myself because I don't have a problem with Rockstar controls. I like whatever Rockstar does. I mean, anything Rockstar does is better than anything Bethesda does. But you already know my bias against Bethesda, But yeah, again, to me, it's not really an issue. But I understand where people are coming from. But I just want to know, and I have to ask this question: where were you guys, like literally a week ago with GTA 5? I didn't hear any of these complaints. Now suddenly they're popping up. Very interesting to me.
I've always had the complaint.
Oh no, you have, but I want to know. Okay, why are these like? Oh, Rockstar Games have these horrible controls. Why aren't you saying this every single time GTA 5 is on NPD? That's all I'm asking. It's very interesting how it just pops up out of nowhere.
To be honest, I feel like there is a little bit of a smokescreen when that people will give a Rockstar game and or a Bethesda game because of the sheer amount of things that you can do in the game. So they're willing to look. They're willing to overlook lousy controls. They're willing to overlook, glitches in the world, all kinds of other weird things that happen within the game because of the sheer amount of things that they can do in the game.
Yeah, and there's definitely an element to that.
No secret. I will admit to that.
I'll admit it too. I don't like Bethesda game the way they control. I hate almost everything about Bethesda games, but I love those fucking worlds, man. Like there's no other world like Fallout. Like okay, I have to deal with a lot of dumb shit because I just enjoy that world so much, But GTA is not like that. It's like there's some minor inconveniences, but no other game is giving me that,
I've always had issues with Rockstar Games, even from the previous Grand Theft Autos. Thing is, I think the way that as a person who notices this sort of stuff, it's really the good that outweighs the bad. So how much good do you have in the game that makes you forgive the bad parts of the game?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Brett.
You see it.
I just recognize I freely admit yes, no, that is exactly. I don't think any Fallout open world fans are going to be like, no, that's not the case. Like, oh yeah, no, that's totally it. Yeah, we'll forgive a bunch of weird, janky, stupid bullshit as long as there's like a lot of cool content. And if you can just shrug your shoulders and move on, there's something cool to do, then nothing's really lost. Like personally, where I get on the controls is exactly like I said. Like I've seen both types, and yeah, it bothers me whenever I have to control somebody and they kind of have that weird RC car movement where they need to rotate, because every time you try and like do something in a closed space, GTA Online especially, like anytime you're trying to do something in your apartment, they're like, no, don't fucking turn left and quit spinning around and just there, fucking
exactly,
click the goddamn thing. Like, yeah, I totally get that. The alternative is to have strafing so that unless you turn, your character doesn't turn, and that the animation in that looks a little weird. And then when you get 12 people in a small space doing that, everybody is just like strafing around in these weird circles. It just looks weird. It's visually unappealing. And with the amount of immersion they're going for in this game, like I can see where they're kind of taking a little bit of control away from you so that the animations all work together and are fluid. It's not necessarily my favorite approach, honestly, but I'll deal with it.
Being a bumper, it always seems like you're a bumper car. Like it's like almost like in a lot of ways it seems like you're controlling like a car a little bit.
Sometimes. Yeah, exactly.
You're controlling like a vehicle that's shaped like a person.
Yeah. By the way, I'm glad you bring that up because you notice how all these complaints about the way Rockstar Games control, they never, with the exception of GTA 4, they're never about the actual cars. Like no one complains about those.
Cars actually, because actual cars have a fair amount of physics and stuff. And remember, the previous in Grand Theft Auto 4, there was issues with the car controls.
Yeah, well, that's what I just said. That I said besides, even though they fixed those, by the way, they fixed those controls because they were too sensitive, man. Like one skid, your whole shit'll flip.
I remember, like, if you like the way the goofy way that Nico used to control, you could actually make him tip over.
Yeah, you can.
Just by walking, just by like bobbing yourself back and forth, you just will fall over for some reason.
Dude, yeah, kind of like I want to see more human physics, especially in these big open world games. Like if you're running through the countryside, like I want you to have to be like, oh shit, there's a rock, and avoid it. Otherwise, like your character can like stumble and like trip. Like that shit would be hilarious and satisfying.
You can actually stumble and trip in this game.
Yeah,
oh,
you can
really?
do it in most of them. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I know in GTA like you can like stumble and kind of like fall off a ledge or something like that, but like
no, you can trip over things. Like there are rocks and things that you can trip over,
and steps that you can bump into people and fall.
Yes, that is awesome. I don't know why I'm going to be so happy the first time I trip over a rock in a field.
Yeah, I love the fact that the return of GTA phase are back. Like if I hit a big rock head on, I'm gonna go flying off my horse.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy, man. Oh man. All right, let's move on here. Where the fuck are we? Another question about Mr. All Day. How do you guys feel about the level of detail versus convenience? I found the micromanaging in Red Dead Redemption 2 to be a little bit overwhelming at first, but now I dig it. But sometimes there's a lot to remember. We don't get these type of games often. So, okay, Adam, let's talk about that, the micromanaging. Did you feel there's too much of it in this game?
There's a lot, especially most of us, we're not used to all of this. This is a lot, especially in a Red Dead game or any type of game that's in this type of world. But it's one of those things where I guess they're just trying to get you into the daily motion. Like in real life, you wake up, you wash up, you eat something, if you have a car, you check you have gas, that type of thing. Same thing. You get up, you go, you eat something, you wash up, you clean your horse, you make sure you feed your horse, you go out there. It's a lot of that. It's little steps. Sometimes a little bit too much detail. Like when I drop my hat, if I'm in a fight and I drop my hat, in the beginning of the game, they show that you can pick up your hat. But I've noticed that some of these fights, when I go back, my hat's gone. Or if it does a cutscene and then I look back, my hat's gone. And that's like shit. But at least you can get it again. You don't have to rebuy the hat. And that was an issue.
Yeah, your horse has the hat.
Yeah, your horse.
Can you pick up somebody else's hat?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You can.
Yeah. I kicked some guy's ass, and I was like, "Oh, I liked his hat," and I just took his hat.
You kicked somebody's ass for their hat, though.
That's it.
You could do that.
Yeah,
too.
you could. You can do. Yeah. Any person in that world, any NPC in the world, doesn't matter, guy, girl, whatever. When you press the left trigger on them, you have the option to fucking draw your weapon. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You can do it whoever the hell you want at any point. So. Except one, I think when you're taking a bath, I don't think you can do that, but you don't have your weapon with you. But there's a lot. Like even when I was saying, like the fact that with the lantern, I didn't know I had the lantern. The binoculars, they show you use it, but there's so much information. I'm sure that popped up in the top left. Hey, by the way, you always have this binocular in your set or something. There is a lot. But I know there was some of that in Red Dead Redemption, and I didn't even bother. Like with the bait, and doing all the hunting, I only hunted when I had to. And with this, they sort of added almost like the Assassin's Creed stuff where like Black Flag, where if you hunt certain exotics, you can craft certain exotic weapon armor and all that stuff. So there's that, and there's some people that are into that type of stuff and they can do it, but that's optional. You don't have to do that. Almost everything that you want, like a double holster and all that, you can get just playing the story. Guns, you don't even need to buy the guns. Yeah, you can go and collect this and that and do all that. No, but the guns they give you throughout the story are there. So it's just trying to figure out a play style that works for you, because it is overwhelming. It definitely is overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff. Those 3 little bars, for the longest, I didn't realize. I was like, oh, wait, those are 3 different. That's me. I thought it was my crew. I was like, the guys I was with. I was like, wait, no, this is all my stuff. And then when you're on the horse, then the horse has 2 of them. So it's a lot to maintain, but if you stick to a pattern and you try to, or a routine, I should say, if you go with that routine and always make sure that you have stock. So far, I haven't run low on any of that type of stuff because I'm always finding stuff, or, if I kill somebody, loot everyone. To always loot them. Doesn't matter. Even like
that's a good way of making money. That's how I make most of my money. I just loot these dudes,
and
then sell the shit later.
There was one point, and I saw some trailers that he talked about, oh yeah, you may have to save some guy who died or who got bitten by a snake. And I did
that twice.
And he was dying, and I'm like, what am I didn't want to waste any of my toxins on him, so I just let him die, and then I looted him, and then I walked away.
See, what I did was different. I saw him there, and I sucked the poison out of his leg. And the cool thing is, if you do that, because this happened twice already, 2 different characters, if you suck poison on somebody's leg, you're gonna find them in town, and then you go to whatever store they're hanging out in front of and you could buy something for free. I bought a free gun. I bought a free gun.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, I've heard of that too. I saved some woman. A horse fell on her, and
Yeah, I
brought her
remember
to
that
town.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure later on, something like that. And I've heard of that too.
Did you take her back to town?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you got to take her back to town. But yeah, they give you free stuff every time.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the one I tell people. It's like, yeah, if you want to go off the beaten path, that's cool. But my suggestion is stay on the roads, because you could tell Rockstar programmed it so a bunch of random shit happens along the roads. Because there's always something. But to answer this specific question, I actually had a hard time because and it's Adam. I'm not discounting anything you said. You're 100% right. There is a lot of little things. But for some reason, I don't consider that overwhelming. To me, I'm like, the only thing that to me is an issue is, and it's not too much of an issue. It's just like that it takes a long fucking time to get between places. All that other shit, it's like cooking, eating, or whatever. Like, okay, just what you do.
But remember, I told you that trick. And for everybody listening, because I think a lot of people don't know this trick, if you pick a waypoint, any waypoint, doesn't matter where, get on the road, hold X and tap on if it's on a PS4, you tap on the touchpad. I don't know what you do on Xbox, but I know on PS4, and you hold both of them down. You'll see the cinematic bars come, and once they come, you can let go of the controller, and it'll go in cinematic view, and he just rides off to where he has to go. And that's it. You don't have to touch the controller, and you can go and do something else, get something to drink, go to the bathroom, whatever. And if there's interference, or let's say somebody's calling for help, you could hear it, and then you just tap the touchpad again, and then you're right back out of it. You back out, and then you can interact. But that's the only way I've noticed to get past everything, because they don't have the fast travel of like, you go here, and then you see a loading screen, and now you're there. Even for the trains and the carriages and stuff, like eventually you get those, but that's later on. But if you're just tired of just constantly just gearing and doing the same thing, do that. X, touchpad, hold that down, cinematic view, put the controller down, go play with your phone or whatever.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's going to sound weird. Actually, I think Brett's going to feel me on this one. I kind of want to go through that, because, this is some real shit right now.
At first few hours.
Yeah, no.
That's where you do your hunting and shit, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's different. That's hunting.
Like, keeping an eye out for
hunting.
No, I want to go through that.
Going hunting. You're riding along and you're like, oh shit, I think I see a buck back there. Like, you pop off your horse, high by the hill. You're like, oh yeah, there's a few of them. Like, that's some good fucking leather right there. Or you're like, okay, I can pop off the road here. Wander through this area. Maybe I'll find something. Like, maybe I'll find personal encounters are all on the road. But and I haven't played enough to confirm this, but I'm imagining based on the last game, like a lot of the wildlife encounters are not necessarily along the road.
I noticed there's more wildlife, but yeah, no, you're right about that. If you want to get the really good shit,
you got to go off the path.
But I've noticed little. But the thing is, even when you're on the road, they show you stuff on the on the horizon. Like, oh, let me go check. Like, for example, today I saw smoke coming out of the woods. Normally, I'm like, okay, it's just I always thought it was smoke from a train or something, right? But that I was like, hold on a second, let me go into the fucking wood. I found 2 guys making moonshine, and then I helped them make moonshine. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. Then they gave me free shit that I was able to sell. I'm like, okay, that's cool. There's little things in this game, man. Like that's why I don't want to let the game just manually drive for me. I want to do it. I want to see what's out there. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot. Anyway, but to the actual question, I don't find any of the menus or anything complicated. I think they're pretty straightforward. There's some things I don't know about, like they're too well hidden. But as far as like upkeep, I just do it because I feel I should. I don't, like, the game has never told me take a bath, eat. The game has never told me that. I just do it because I like, if I just remember doing, like, I haven't eaten in a couple of days, may as well eat. I haven't showered, may as well shower.
Well, I think you eventually collapse because they show health bars for all 3 of those things. So I mean, I've never gotten to that level either. I don't know. What happens? What happens if we get to one point? Like, does he just collapse on the floor?
Yeah. It just says that even the debuffs, like, immediately I was like, okay, so I have to eat and I have to sleep. Like, what happens if I don't? Like, it's just a debuff, like, to your stamina and health regeneration.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So like, it makes it so, like, as somebody who's used to playing survival games, we're like, yeah, if your health gets low, you start dropping HP, and then when that gets to 0, you starve to death and you fucking die. And when that happens, you lose all the gear that you have on you. oh, by the way, don't dehydrate while running through a desert because the same shit will happen. Literally, all that happens here is like, wait, so I just need to eat a cookie every once in a while, which I'm gonna do anyway to regain health. Otherwise, my health regen doesn't go up as fast. Like, okay, like, well, I don't need the health regen boost. I could just have it set at default. You know, kind of like it reminds me, at least in the sense of the Dark Souls games, or the kind of thing like you don't have to be embered. Like, yeah, you have more life when you're embered, but that's a bonus. Your standard is pretty much. So I'm just looking at it as like, okay, so you take a slight hit and go down to a lower standard health regeneration. Like, I could play the whole game like that without fucking caring or knowing. Just a little harder.
Yeah, the stuff is not intrusive to me. Like, oh, by the way, Adam, those 3 things are your health, your stamina, and your dead eye. You know, they kind of come. They regenerate on their own anyway. You know, so you don't really need to worry about it too much. There was only one time where the game was like, yo, your horse is too dirty. Clean him so he gets the stamina up. That was like one time, and most of the time I just do it. It just happens, you know. Again, I played so many of these GTA games, you kind of get used to that sort of mundane shit. So it's not really an issue for me, you know. You kind of just get used to it. You go to camp, hey, there's some stew, eat some stew, go to sleep, you know, whatever. All right, let's move on. Where the fuck are we right now, Mr. I think that's it. I think that's all the GTA questions. Or GTA, the Red Dead Redemption questions. So now we're going to go to Mr.
Well, have you used the app? Here's a question for you. Have you used the app yet?
No, not yet. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it maybe in my second playthrough, but I would just go in raw, man. I don't.
No, but the app it's not cheating. I mean, it's a companion. So when I have the app open, let's say if I'm on my horse and I open up in the map, it shows me real time where I'm at, like a GPS, and then what's around me that I can just click on something, and then the marker pops up in the game. And
man, Cowboys didn't have GPS.
Yeah, right. So that's the other thing. They didn't have that.
No,
shit.
but you gotta understand. No, it doesn't. But it's equivalent to him taking out a map. Like when he takes out the map and he looks at where. Well, just imagine he's doing that and you're doing it on your hand. So that's it. Like, all right, I want to go there.
Imagine him checking his cell phone while on the horse.
Yeah. Remember, Far Cry 2 did that. You actually pull out an actual real map and shit. Look around. All right, let's go, Mr. Matt Whedon. These are still, I guess, timely questions since it is Halloween. Both of his questions are about Halloween. I don't think he's going to be happy with my answers, though. Anyway, his first one is, what are your favorite games to play during Halloween?
I don't really play any games during Halloween.
That was what I was going to say.
I play whatever I'm playing currently. So if it just so happens to be a horror game, it's a horror game. I'm more inclined to watch horror movies close to Halloween. You know?
Yeah, I'm watching Castlevania. That's a good Halloween thing.
Yeah. And by the way, people, season 2's out. I had no idea.
Yeah, dude. Season 2 came out. Season 2 came out, and that's one of the very few things. Like, I don't often get in the holiday spirit enough to be like, oh, I'm gonna watch so and so kind of movie, but like, especially Halloween for some reason. But Castlevania is one of those like, all right, it feels kind of Halloween like, and Castlevania is super totally appropriate. Let's watch this shit, and it's good. Couple episodes in, it's good.
Nice. Yeah. By the way, this goes to the next question too. I don't celebrate Halloween. I'm not a kid. I'm just being honest. Like, to me, if you celebrate as an adult, that's cool. But to me, Halloween is like a kid's holiday, which is good. It's good for them. You know, you got their trick or treat or whatever. But to me, I'm like, whatever. I'm an adult. I don't really celebrate that. So no Halloween anything.
Normally, though.
No, I mean, I did it when I was a kid. But as soon as I hit puberty, I'm like, what am I, a doofus celebrating this shit? You know, I got hair on my nuts now. You know. But yeah, it's definitely a good holiday for kids and horny people. But yeah.
No, it's fun. It's fun to go to Halloween parties and stuff like that. It's a social event. You go dress up as a Ghostbuster. Come on, man.
Tony doesn't have a lot of options.
Yeah,
Tony,
exactly.
Here's what I tell people for both this and Christmas in this kind of context. Like,
Christmas is another one. I'm like, I don't really celebrate. So I'm a kid. You know what I'm saying? I don't give people presents. People don't give me presents. So whatever.
Dude,
you know? Manny's like the only one. Yeah.
It's just about the beginning of time. There was always been a festival or a celebration in the fall, and then one right in the middle of winter. And it's to kind of help combat the human desire for like it's not like fall is nice, but winter is approaching. Everything is slowly dying. So like everybody's trying to get a little morale boost. You get together when it's starting to get cold, and you get the stuff that was just made, and you drink some cider and shit like that. And the reason we have like a Christmas kind of there, where everybody has one in the middle of winter, is because it's literally the middle of fucking winter. It's literally celebrating, okay, we're halfway done. It only gets better and warmer and brighter from here. Congratulations, everybody. We did it. It's like a human desire. Like, take all the frill off of it and just take it as like, dude, it's the fall celebration. And then we have a winter celebration. Because it's people naturally, humans naturally do.
Yeah, no, I'm not against any of that. I'm just saying, me personally, I'm like, whatever,
Yeah,
Like,
you don't want to celebrate the fall, though?
Nah, not really. I don't like fall. I'd rather celebrate summer. I like summer.
Fall is perfect time of year, man. It's a perfect weather.
I don't like that.
Fall
That's
and
when things
spring
get.
are the best
I have to
time of
start
year.
putting on jackets. I don't like fall. I don't like fall or winter. I like summer.
That's all the more reason to have a party, man.
But
Because fall sucks, so you have a party to cheer yourself up.
But I was talking to my friend Jeffrey about this. I said if I were to become like the king of the world, first thing I would do is I would make New Year's March 21st, the first day of spring. That makes more sense to me. Let's celebrate that shit. Not January 1st or in the middle of fucking winter. Freezing my ass off.
Dude, you take away that kind of shit. People will you need to give people a reason to get through winter. I'm pretty sure that's the whole goddamn point.
You could still have a January 1st holiday. I have no problem against. I'm just saying the first day of the actual year should be spring solstice. That just makes more sense to me.
Dude, I just think we should have a big holiday on the solstice and big holidays on the equinoxes. Just 4 big holidays a year.
I'm not against that. That's fine. Yeah, that actually kind of makes sense. But I'm just saying, as Halloween, it's like, hey, dress up as your favorite monster. I'm like, okay, that's cool. If you want to do that, I have no problem against that. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't see a point to it. For me, if you celebrate, go nuts.
I find that culturally offensive, Tony.
Okay, screw you then.
Hey, Halloween was an important holiday to the Celts, all right? That's all I'm saying. You're being racially insensitive here.
But how am I being racially insensitive when I'm saying I don't care? If you want to celebrate it, go ham, go nuts.
I'm just doing.
Yeah, you're being ass. It's like I don't got any Celtic blood. I don't give a fuck about Halloween.
I do, and I don't give a fuck either. I still agree. You take away Halloween, and they'd be like, "Well, we got to do something in the fall because it's fall." I'd be like, okay,
Thanksgiving.
That's fine. I'm pretty sure that's why Thanksgiving is pretty much a harvest festival too. You're gonna have a harvest festival.
See, I like Thanksgiving though. It's like, what's the whole holiday about? Eating. I could get down with that.
Well, dude, back in the day, Halloween was about was about eating. I mean, it still is about eating, but it's not about eating candy and shit.
It's about eating candy. You know me. I'm not a sweet tooth guy. If it was about salty shit, fried shit, then I'd love Halloween. Trick or imagine that, Brett. You go trick or treat to give you fried chicken, dude. I'd be all over that. Are you fucking kidding me?
If I could go door to door collecting bacon, I totally would.
That would be my favorite holiday of all time. Are you kidding me right now?
We should make this a thing.
Yes, we should. Somebody just comes out and give you fucking fried shit. I'm like, oh my god, I'll be 40 years old dressing up like a little kid. Trick
it out. I'm Optimus Prime. Give me some fried chicken.
Brett, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make a new holiday, man. That'd be awesome.
Dude, okay, our costume, I already know what it is. We're both going as Optimus Prime. You're going to be the front, I'll be the trailer.
Yes. Yes. We're going to fucking do this, bro. This is amazing. All right. We're crazy. And the next question is about Halloween too. What is your favorite metal band to listen to on Halloween? You mean Halloween?
Halloween, or listen to the song Halloween by King Diamond?
Ministry. There was Ministry also. Yeah. Every day is Halloween.
I guess you could listen to a bunch of death metal, since that's basically B grade horror movies. But again, I don't celebrate Halloween like that. I don't go, hey, on this day I'm going to listen to this. I'm like, I listen to whatever the fuck I want. I'll play whatever the fuck I want.
You're gonna put on Halloween. Halloween, you are my pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. When you look at it from the weird cartoony character, I don't know what the fuck. I know fall and the general feeling of Halloween make me want to play bands like Corporate Glani and shit. That just seems like appropriate.
I like that. Yeah, very what do you call those? Celtic metal or whatever. I'm getting the fucking name wrong, but you're right. That is more appropriate for that time of year. Yeah, but again, I listen to whatever fuck I want. If I'm listening to some other shit, I'm listening to some other. If I'm playing some other shit, I'm playing some other shit.
Put some Ghost on.
I don't know. I listen to Ghost. I can't listen to Ghost. That shit is horrible. But I guess some people think that it's like, it's not, for me. It's not like Christmas music. You don't choose to listen to it. It's just around you everywhere. So I'm like, oh, okay. But for Halloween, I don't. What Halloween music do really people play?
This is Halloween.
Every single Typo Negative album.
Yes.
I listen to Typo every day. Long live Pete Steele. Holy shit! Stop bringing. Man, I miss him.
Yo,
You know, I just realized there is no Halloween music. Like you pick up a Sounds of Christmas CD, it's like fucking jingles and like songs and shit. You pick up a Sound of Halloween CD, it's just ambient echoing followed by menacing laughter. Like there is no Halloween music.
I mean, there's some song with the Monster Mash, the Monster Mash,
or the music to the Haunted Mansion from Disneyland.
yeah, there is no Halloween music. Like even when Christmas comes around, like yeah, I'll listen to some Christmas music. Sure, get me in the spirit.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right about that. There's no equivalent. By the way, Honey's gaming. He knows what's up. He goes listen to Slayer or Obituary. There you go. You know.
Yeah.
But I listen to whatever. I'm gonna be playing.
With Slayer on a bit.
Blood. I want to suck your blood.
Are you gonna see Slayer when they come to town on their farewell tour?
We seen them already. Yeah, we
You already saw them.
Oh
You
yeah,
did that.
yeah, we already. Yep, man.
Did you cry? Did you cry?
They'll be back.
Yeah,
You think they're full of shit like Ministry, which
They'll be
did an
back, they'll be
Adios
back.
tour like 4 years ago and still on tour and
they'll
still
be
making new
back.
albums?
Every band comes back because they want more money.
They
you know?
all do it. They all do it. Now your boy Kiss, the Queen's band, they're now saying their farewell tour.
No,
I'm like,
Kiss-
really? I thought that shit happened years ago.
Kiss has
Farewell
been on-
tour for over 20 years.
Yes, Kiss has been on a farewell tour for
That's
20
what I'm
years
saying.
now.
Kiss is bullshit.
Exactly.
Oh, Tony.
Strutter.
Yeah,
Baby
Strata. Damn it. Yeah, Baby Metal.
Oh,
There you go.
the chick left. The chick left Baby Metal.
Yeah, the main one, right?
One of them, yeah, she bounced. She's doing a solo project.
Yeah.
He's probably doing actual Japanese like pop music now.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Baby Metal Halloween metal then?
Some people think it's fake, so yeah. They're like, what is it? They're wearing costumes. It can't be. I mean, the girl's like 30 years old, so I guess.
I mean, Guar is the obvious answer.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah, there you go. By the way, Honey's anime gaming is right. He goes like, you'll get beat up at a Slayer show if you start crying. That's true, man. They'll rip you apart and throw you crying.
Well, then you can count almost every Norwegian black metal with the death paint on it. It's hot.
Yeah. By the way, what happened at a Slayer concert? If you start crying, not only will they rip you apart, but they'll throw you at the band.
But you could just scream out, "I have allergies! Allergies! The smoke hurt my eyes."
And then they're like, allergies are metal. And then that's it.
Yeah. Just listen to a bunch of black metal and you're good. All right. Moving on here. Mr. G Megaforce 123. Right. He goes, should modern events be made into video games? I always find it interesting how X amount of years determines whether or not adapting real life events to film or video games is acceptable or not. For instance, World War II is a time period that has been depicted dozens of times across various mediums, even though there are still veterans living today who lost friends during that war. However, few would say that films like Saving Private Ryan or games like Call of Duty World War II are insensitive or disrespectful. All right, so yeah, should games cover modern events like 9/11 or something like that?
Well, I mean, there were not 9/11 specifically, but there were, during the
Desert Storm
War on Terror, there were a bunch. Yeah. Like that's when modern warfare started. And what were you doing? You were killing terrorists in those games.
Yeah,
I do a lot of that.
I think there's only a timeline on tragic events, things that are generally considered like big tragic events, like natural disasters, acts of terrorism, things like that. And you can even extrapolate. Like, for instance, I haven't talked about Fallout in too long. So if the next Fallout mainline game took all of the stuff that's going on right now with Russia and put that, backwrote that into their canon. Like, oh, well, we recently found out, some stuff that I wouldn't even be upset about that. Or, if it
or Metro, which actually takes place in Russia.
Yeah. Like if you're tying it back to like public or political events, I don't think that there's a timeline, even if they're stressful ones. Like there was no hold on how long before you could make movies and entertainment about the Cold War, because there was nothing really tragic. It was just tension.
Yeah.
And to be fair, movies about World War II started coming out literally after the war ended, or even some during,
Yeah, like there's something like literally like maybe a few years later, that one Tora, and the other one, those
they were generally
are
about the
really
war.
close to when the war.
Yeah, they were
happened.
about the war. Yeah,
They're about the war, not the Holocaust. And
Yeah,
I
no,
want
yeah,
to note
that's
that
right.
distinction. Like it was a while before we actually had any media about the Holocaust.
The Holocaust stuff really was. It was kind of a weird side note that would appear in some of those films, but they never would really tackle it until years later.
Yeah, so I think it's just tragedy that they try and avoid for an amount of time, and I think it's general consensus is like it's like 25 to 50 years or something like that. I forget.
Yeah, I'm guessing what a generation.
Figured out a number. Like it takes like about like a full generation to be distanced enough from a tragic event to be able to analyze it, and then a little while longer before they're able to poke fun at it.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. But to answer the question, yeah, why not? Games could do it. It's just there is a grace period for tragic events, but no, they could if they want to cover like the war on terror, why not? They've already done it, you know.
They've already done it, yeah.
They've already done it, you know.
But they've never done any specific. Like, I mean, why would you want to play a game about 9/11 anyway?
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Even when that movie,
that's a tragedy too. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like
even when that movie with Nick Cage came out, that was already people were panning that movie too because everybody felt it was way too soon.
Yeah. All right.
I still feel like it's too soon.
It is too soon.
Zero Dark 30, they did that. And
there's been a few movies about 9/11. Yeah. Yeah, it's still too soon. I agree. Yeah, I think you're right. It's like let a generation pass, you know, which is what 30 years or so, something like that.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Damn,
back in the day, it used to be 20 years, but people live longer now, you know.
Think how many people are still alive from World War II. They got to be in their like 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is a lot of those people aren't the ones that want to hear about World War II. Like a lot of veterans don't see the movies. A lot of veterans don't even go back to Europe or anything like that. They pretty much are like, a chapter of my life is closed. I'm walking away. So the one generation thing kind of makes sense then because like, oh, my dad was in World War II, but he didn't really talk about it all that much. So like I had this vague interest and I'll consume media about it. Like there's not really a demand for it from the people who lived through it. There's a demand for it from the next group.
I don't know. My stepfather's best friend was in Vietnam, and then my ex-wife's, her father was also in Vietnam, and he would constantly want to watch war movies. Oh yeah, that's how it was. Yeah, I remember shooting people like that. Yeah, he was fucking nuts. He always talks about getting sprayed with Agent Orange and shit.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Vietnam veterans out there.
Yeah,
you know?
but from the ones I met, they were into him. One of them was big into shooting. His name was Angel. He was my stepfather's friend, and he would watch all of them. He'd play Call of Duty all the time. Hell, my uncle who served, our uncle Richard served freaking 20-something years, 30-something years in the military. You know, he was in the Gulf War, and he's always on PS4 playing Call of Duty. He's got World War II and all of those. So
he interesting thing about him is he was actually posted at the Berlin Wall when it came out.
He sent back pieces of the wall.
I still have it.
Yeah, smell like bacon.
Yeah, it was probably got because it smelled like the house.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I just looked it up right now just for my own curiosity. The last World War I veteran died in 2011. Combat veteran. Very interesting. By the way, you know, when I was playing Red Dead Redemption, I remember when World War I started, there were Civil War veterans protesting the fact that we were getting mixed up in that European war, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Kind of interesting how that works.
Portions of Gangs of New York are.
But it's always been like that. It's like, oh, they're over there. That's old world problems. That's not our problems. But it can circle around and impact us, especially now in this age.
Well, now there is no old world, new world. Yeah,
we're all connected. It's like a lot of shit that you enjoy, a lot of things that we have are made overseas.
Yeah, there is no more old. There is no more old and new world. It's just the world now.
Just the world. Just the world.
Yeah, but it's funny, even
El mundo.
Yeah, even in Red Dead Redemption, they still refer to it as the old world, which is kind of fun. They're like, oh, the old world. They actually was like, don't bring an old world shit over here. You know,
what was it? It was like, you Irish fuckers. It's like they go running around. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's this one.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's what he says.
That's what he says. Yeah. Actually, you know, this is not a spoiler because it's just a side thing. But one of your crew members is Irish, right? And he was talking about some political stuff. And the main dude, Arthur, he's like, listen, I don't want to hear about any of that old world shit. He was like, really? Like, you guys are pretty political here. You hate the Negroes, you hate the Irish, you hate the Indians. And he's like, listen, buddy, I hate everybody. I thought that was pretty funny. All right. Where the fuck are we next? This is a more in-depth question. Okay, why do you game? You can do so many other things with your time, but you choose to sit in front of a screen and interact with a computer. What are the main reasons why you choose gaming or like gaming over other mediums?
I mean, to be honest, I see gaming exactly how I saw it when I was a kid. It's just one of many distractions that you have in life. You know, you could either be watching TV, reading a book, going to a movie, seeing a show. Just one of many things. That's a way I've always seen it. There's no specific preference for it. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's something cool, something that I enjoy. You know, just like anything else.
What is it about gaming that you specifically like?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I don't see it that differently from any of the other media that I absorb, except for the fact that you actually control it.
I think that's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a huge. So hold on. I'm gonna delve into deeper. So Manny, you can't tell me specifically why you like movies or comics or video games. Like there's got to be a reason why you like.
Here's
those
the thing. Like
things.
I like it doesn't matter what the medium actually is. If it is something I'm interested in, that is the reason why I'm playing it, reading it, watching it. I'm not playing a game just because it's a game.
Well, I like mine because it's immersive. It's just an immersive experience. It's a different experience, and that's it.
Yeah, to me, it's it's the ultimate medium. It's like because it has like the length of books, it has the depth of movies, but it has something they don't have, the interactivity. And here's my thing: I really like anything that pulls me into its world. Right, it makes me feel like I'm part of it. Right. Video games do that better than any other medium out there. Like you're really living that shit, because you're controlling this character. Like if I was watching Red Dead Redemption 2 as a movie, it's like I could get enjoyment out of it, but I can't just stop and look around and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I really enjoy games. Just the fact that it's an interactive narrative. It's a lot deeper than other like mediums out there. And obviously all mediums have their strengths and weaknesses. Video games do too. Especially like for example, you could break your immersion just by simply spinning your character around in a circle or whatever. But I just really enjoy it because of the fact that it is interactive and it really puts me into the actual world that like basically when a game. And this goes for movies and any other thing. Like if I'm reading a book and I do not even think about the fact that I'm reading a book, it's done its job well. If I'm watching a movie, I don't realize I'm watching a movie, it's done its job. When I'm playing a game and I don't realize I'm actually playing a game, it's done its job. It's for me, it's all about the immersion factor, and games do it a hell of a lot better than anything else does. So that's the main reason why it is actually my preferred medium over all of them. I don't even watch anything anymore. I don't watch TV or other things. Like they kind of fall flat compared to games, especially games nowadays. Like especially last gen, that's when they really, to me, overtook other mediums. Because even before then, you always wanted games to be as good as movies. Now to me, games are better than movies,
I don't see them. I don't see. I feel like for games, I don't think of them as also like in comparison to movies. It's their own thing. You know what I mean? Like there are definitely things that are crossover as far as film goes, but I just see it as just another, thing another thing that takes, that distracts you, or, another form of entertainment. There's no real specific reason why I play it. It's like, okay, this looks like a cool thing that I'm going to play, that we're going to go into a cool world or whatever. But yeah, other than that, there's no real deeper reason why I don't prefer it over anything else.
Yeah, and that's fine. But for me, and obviously since I work in it, I think about it. There's another thing I completely forgot
about. But if they were to take
it
away, let's say, you know what, no more gaming for you, would you be okay with it?
Sure.
Yeah, he would. Knowing Manny, he would be. But here's the thing. I also like this. This may be, whatever. I'm just gonna get out there. I like the fact that when you play a game, you actually do have control over things. Like in real life, you're gonna do something, you don't know what the hell's gonna happen. You do not know the outcome. It may be good, it may be bad. Most of the time, it may just be whatever. Games, you know that if you put in X amount of work or do certain things, you will get a specific outcome out of it. I like that certainty that I do not get out of life. And I think, a lot of people like that about games too. It's like, if you do this, this will happen. Guaranteed, 100%, no questions asked. I like that level of control. That's why I like, getting achievements and stuff like that, because I have control over that shit. And it also gives me a specific goal to work towards. Like in life, there are some goals, but you don't really have a lot of them or whatever. So, and also if you do have a goal, you don't know if you're going to end up where you want to go. You may end up somewhere else horribly or maybe better, but usually kind of just middle ground. But I like that in games. You're guaranteed you're going to get a outcome and you're going to be rewarded for it. I enjoy that because that's not guaranteed in life,
Oh my God, that explains so much why you like the types of games that you like.
Yeah, listen, man. If you know me, all the games I like make
I know you.
perfect
I'm just
sense.
saying that explains so much. Like I know that explains why you like the narrative-driven games. Like you don't need to be given too many choices. You just want to be like you have control and be driven to an endpoint that you know you're going to be satisfied by. Like I knew where you came from, but I now see how you get there.
Yeah. I just blew your mind away. Then, Brett, think about it like this. This is also why I'm not the biggest fan of multiplayer. I do not have control over the outcome.
Exactly. No,
I don't
and
know
that's exactly the point. Like,
yeah.
And that kind of highlights the difference because I'll be honest, I like more competitive chaos things. I like clawing my way to the top without that guarantee of knowing that I'm going to get there. So that if I do get there, it's not because I've just checked all the boxes. It's because I've beaten other people and I fucking earned it. And you can see how that would bleed into the kind of games that I enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But like
I'm glad I opened up your eyes a little bit. I know that's a horrible phrase to say, but I've enlightened you.
No, it absolutely yeah, you blew my mind. I absolutely get it.
Yeah, but that is really a big thing. I like knowing the fact that if I do this, I'm guaranteed this no matter what, and I have to put some skill into it, which is also a plus, and I also like the fact that I can get better at this thing if I do it enough. I like that too. And if I do get better at it, I'm going to get rewarded for it. It's not a real life. Like, for example, you go to fucking school, study all this shit. You may not even get a job, in a game. If you're in that same setting in a game, you're guaranteed that fucking job. I like that security. I know it's not realistic or whatever, but it's still nice to have that, even if it's just virtual. You know what I'm saying?
Games are supposed to be realistic.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's why I really enjoy gaming. Adam, what about you? Why do you enjoy gaming so much? And again, it's not like why do you like it over other shit. It's just in general, why do you like gaming?
It's different experiences. It's like if I want to be a professional soccer player, I can do it in the game. I can't do that in real life. If I want to be soldier man and run around in a foreign country shooting foreigners, I can do that. If I want to be an assassin, I can do that. If I want to be a cowboy in Red Dead, I can do that. And you can't do that in a movie. In a movie, you're viewing, you're a voyeur, as opposed to the same thing even a book. You're reading, you're not really interacting with it. This is interaction. This is as immersive as it gets, besides doing the real thing of just going out there, doing crazy shit and ending up in jail or dead. So that's why I do it. It's fun. It's a different world. It's an immersive experience, and it just keeps getting that way. I mean, all the way from playing Mario and jumping around or duck hunting. It's like next poof, look where we are now. And that's why I play it. Whether it's or not, I don't care. It's just a different experience.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because that's the other aspect of it too. It's like, hey, I get to play as this character that's a fucking cowboy, a space marine. He may not even be human. It may be a fucking turtle or something. You know what I'm saying?
But I like it's that. Also, it's also a portion of escapism. You are escaping from your daily life in this world, whether it be a video game, a film, or a book. I just that's just maybe it's a simplistic way of seeing it all, but that's pretty much how I see it. Where it's like, all right, your days are how do you what do you want to do in your free time? What would be fun to you? What would get your mind off of whatever your regular worlds in the real world is giving you?
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
It was someone that I was dating a long time ago, and she was like, I don't get why I waste all this time doing this with the gaming and stuff, and I was like, whatever. And then I went to her place, and I remember talking. I was like, what are you doing all day? She's like, oh, I'm watching Mafia Wives. I'm like, you're binging this bullshit. why do you find how many hours? Like
Man.
4 or 5 hours because there's a marathon. Oh well, it's fun. This is great. It's in what you're watching people live this bullshit life for TV. That's a waste of time for me. That's
I never understood.
You're wasting time watching this shit.
I never understood the people
interacting with something.
Adam, again, this off what you said. I don't understand the people that they'll binge watch shows all fucking day, then they turn around and tell you're wasting your time.
Yeah, exactly. What? That's what I'm saying. Like, you're doing this shit.
That is exactly my point. If I can cut in here, that is my reason for playing video games. That is literally my answer to the question. Is that okay? So you have a certain amount of time per week for leisure activities. You can afford to do it. Not that you can plan it out, but so.
Brett, are you cutting coke in the background? What the fuck is that noise?
You're like,
what? Hold on, let me move my mic. Maybe I was bumping it. Is that better?
Yeah, there you go. All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was chopping up a hugely. You would not believe the size.
How much blow is this dude doing?
So, like, you have a certain amount of time in the week, right? And so, some people you can just sit there and like watch TV, specifically like horrible sitcom fucking TV, like. As a child from the 80s, I remember that's literally what most people did. They're like, oh, man, the TBS lineup on Thursday night. Like, you could just sit there and turn your brain off, and that's fine. We're all entitled to do that. There's some really good things to watch. But at a certain point, you're just watching shit to watch it. You're just watching shit to zone out. And if you do that all the time, well, it's going to make you stupid. So you have the passive entertainment, and then on the other side, you have active entertainment, the kind of entertainment where you have to engage your mind. Hobbies, building stuff, reading and imagining worlds in your mind, and playing video games. Part of being healthy is not just having an active body, but an active mind. And you can't just go do your work, then come home, shut your brain off in front of, a marathon of, house hunters and expect to be a well-rounded person. I'm not saying running around as a cowboy No, I am. I am saying running around as a cowboy shooting people makes you a better person because at least you're engaging your mind. At least you're utilizing critical thought. And this isn't just me saying this. Like, science backs this up. Like,
it's true.
Gamers have better decision-making skills, response time, and critical thought than people who don't play video games because they're engaging their mind regularly. And so I personally believe, like, even if you're like not really thrilled of the idea of gaming, like, I believe you should think about getting into it. I believe everybody should game at least a few hours a week if they can afford it. And if you need to cut out some TV time, cut out some TV time because you shouldn't be having just passive entertainment all the time. And if you look at your life and find that you're consuming nothing but passive entertainment, you should probably look into a hobby.
I agree with everything you said. That's a great way of putting it, man. Again, that's why I don't watch as much TV as I do. It's like, this is not as fun as a game, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not like as engaging. I like when my synapses are firing off. Like I'm playing Red Dead. I'm thinking about all the shit people used to do, how you used to live, and all that. Makes me want to go back out and study some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, and if you're gaming, then essentially you're only watching the passive entertainment that really interests you. Right? You're not watching any filler. Like, if you were just remember those days when you just watch TV because there was nothing on, but you're going to watch something. Nowadays, we have all these streaming services that, like, I can be like, hey, yo, Tony, Castlevania Season 2 is out. And he can be like, oh, man, like, I actually want to watch this. Or I want to catch up on Attack on Titan. Or I want to watch this other thing.
Here's the somewhat sad part of being in control over the things that you want to see. That means you may end up not being exposed to certain things, and certain things get lost. That's one of the things. Like, if you notice, as kids, we kind of know all these different shows that most people, nowadays don't even know anymore. Because we grew up in the era where we didn't control as to what we were watching on TV. We watched Gilligan. And we
missed out on a lot of shit. Yeah, things that we probably wouldn't watch today.
Yeah,
we've watched then.
Yeah,
and then now we can goof on it, like Three's Company and shit.
Yeah, that's a great point. I remember
I would not watch that today.
Yeah, I remember.
Said, there's this guy who lives with these two girls, right? And he has to make believe he's gay. I'm like, no.
Yeah, you wouldn't watch that. I remember I surprised Carlos when he was talking about 90210. I'm like, you used to watch that. He's like, you used to watch that? Tony was like, what else was I gonna watch back then? There was nothing else on.
It was literally on. It was already on the TV.
Yeah. And you had nothing else to do, so may as well watch it. Brandon and Dylan and all that shit, you know.
To be honest, I actually kind of miss a little bit of that. I still, every so often, just for background noise, I put on fucking the Me TV channel. It has all like Hogan's Heroes and all kinds of old shows.
Oh yeah. No. Yep.
Yeah, no, but you know what? That's a different thing. But you're right about that. I kind of do miss slightly some of that. Like today, I was gonna play Red Dead, and I had it on the National Geographic channel, and they were having this whole documentary about the mafia. And I just watched that. I'm like, I want to play Red Dead, but I'm gonna watch this shit.
I'm engaged in this thing right now.
Yeah, it's like Red Dead could wait. I'm gonna watch. When is this gonna come back on again? Remember back in that day too. It's like, yo, you had to watch it because you didn't know when the fuck it was coming back on.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I have to be home by 7. My show's gonna be on. I want to go now.
Yep.
Well, even schedule to see if it is gonna ever even show
exactly.
up.
Yeah. Well, even now, a lot of people just look at the guide. They don't flick through the channels. Like every once in a while, I'll just press random buttons on my controller to see what pops up.
Mm-hmm.
My wife will get pissed. She's like, why don't you bring up the guide instead of just surfing around? I'm like, that's the whole point of surfing around. I don't know what I'm going to find. I might find something good. I remember one time I was doing that, and I was like, this was a while ago when they had Core TV. And I'm like, yo, what is a crazy quirky? This guy just set his whole family on fire. What? How come this isn't big news? And it's like, and it's like, I got hooked to watching Core TV for a long time. Eventually, it turned into the ID channel, which now also has a big following.
Yeah. Even yesterday happened to me too. I had it on again because I'm going to be honest. I only really have it on 3 channels: the History Channel, the National Geographic, and the Discovery HD. Right? Because I like to learn shit. And yesterday, again, I was going to play Red Dead, but they had this thing about these killer whales that hunt great white sharks. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch this now.
I mean, think about what you just said though. Like in my spare time, I generally have the TV on, spewing educational materials at me. That ain't a bad way to live, my friend.
No, it's not at all. And I've been like that for a while. I was like, scripted TV, I'd rather learn shit. You know what I'm saying? All right, you ain't too old to learn, people. All right, next up, Mr. Black Metal Gamer. So his first question is, and I had to hit him up privately because the way he first asked, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you just said, dude. Please reiterate that.
What the fuck you just said, but
you special. You reached out, touched my heart. So he goes, when did you by the way, both of his questions are kind of similar. So you know what? I'm going to ask both of them. All right. When did you really start paying attention to buying a game and not blindly buying one like young kids do without knowing about what developer made the game? And what generation did you start really paying attention to gaming news every week, etc., and game developers, game politics, and all that other shit? When did you really start noticing that? When did you really start paying attention?
To be honest, once Nintendo Power came on,
gaming magazines, man, that changed the whole game.
Yeah,
because that showed that things were planned ahead. I didn't know they were planned ahead. I'm like, wait, what, you guys already know what games are coming out next month? How did you know this? How do you know?
We didn't know what games were coming. We were like, man, that game was really cool. I hope they make another one.
Yeah, exactly. You went to the store, you saw one, that was it. That's how you found out.
I didn't even get that far, Manny. I was just like, oh shit. They made another one.
Or you know what big research was back then before video game magazines? Looking at the back of the actual
comics had
boxes.
The boxes. Because
yes.
if here's the thing, if they had an awesome cover and then sometimes they'd have the gall to not put any sort of images on the back, that's usually a telltale sign that the game didn't look that good.
Yeah.
Right? It was a red flag. You're like, motherfucker, I am not buying this game because there are no screen pictures on the back. Like there was just illustration and letter wording of any sort. You're just like,
no. A block of text. You're like, oh, come on. Who are you trying to fool here? This cover's awesome, but look at that back. What do you got?
Yeah, or you would know about other games from the actual game manual, so it has sometimes have an ad. It's like, oh, what's that? I want to check that out.
Dude,
Capcom would put put ads for the games that are coming. It's like, oh shit, there's a game called Strider. Remember that? It was like, oh man, it's finally coming to the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Dude, to show my age here a little bit, I used to go to Blockbuster and look at pop open the display cases and read the instruction manuals inside.
Yeah, man.
Well, we lived in the city, and they would steal the
they would steal.
They didn't even, or they would have them behind the counter. So when you went to get the game rented,
this was
then they would just
way early. This was like SNES days before they figured that shit out. And they people would steal them, but if you got there early enough, I went to Blockbuster every fucking week, so if something new popped out, you're like, oh, probably.
Damn. Do you remember when Blockbuster had a porn section?
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, the rope section.
Yeah, the little rope
like,
section.
What the hell is this? Like, oh yeah, that's.
And to be honest,
what are they doing? What's he doing to that woman's back?
like,
They're hugging, right?
You know, like Blockbusters, you know, like even that was somewhat rare. We were all, like me, Adam, and I'm sure, you know, definitely Tony. We would just go to the local freaking video
Yeah,
game
mom and pop shop,
video store. Yeah, we wouldn't even mess
$2.
around. Yeah, we
and
wouldn't
you
even
get
mess
it for
around with
2 days
Blockbuster.
or a day and a half.
Yo, I got a story for you guys after the show. Man. But yeah, so I'm guessing to answer your question, in the early, like late 80s, early 90s, when we started looking at video game magazines, like, oh shit, okay, they made that game? Okay,
Yeah,
they got another one?
These guys, the publishers would come out. I mean, they would be on the cover, like, and then, you know, especially with like Capcom and Konami, they actually used to have specific covers that they would. You didn't even need to look at the name because they all had the same formatting for all of their covers.
Yeah, but
dude, I know what the problem was. Like, okay, so back in the time that we're talking about, for you youngbloods out there, we didn't have this thing called the internet. So the way we got our news was people who worked for a news organization, one of these video game magazines, would attend a press event and then carry word back with them in person like an old-timey Western postal worker. They would actually just hold the information in their head and on a written piece of paper, and they would physically bring it back to another location. And then they would take this information and put it in a book, and then they would ship those books out across the country where children like us bought them. And we read about this shit that they decided to tell us about, and that was literally the only way you got news.
And what you used to do is also, like, if you know, when video game magazines were kind of hot, you used to pick up multiple ones per month, because a lot of times the different gaming magazines would have sometimes the same features, but a different version of it, and they different things that they saw than the other one. So one reporter would be like talking to the game director. The other guy would be like, hey, you know, this is what I saw when I played the game. Then another company would be like, oh no, yeah, you know, they had some other angle from it. So you could get multiple angles at the same time. So it's like, what was it? EGM, Game Fan,
Game Pro.
Game Pro.
Yeah. Some of them had exclusives too. Like even like you could only read shit about Nintendo in Nintendo Power. Like you could read about it in other places, but if you really wanted to have like the inside scoop, it was only going to be in their magazine.
And the one problem with Nintendo Power, and I figured this out at a young age, I was like, okay, how are these guys going to be doing reviews of games from their own studio and actually give you a honest to goodness review on this? No, that's not possible. You can't get a good review for a Mario game from a friggin' Nintendo Power.
That continued on even with Xbox, because I remember when Xbox had their official magazine, and I said the same, I'm not going to read this shit, but they would come every month with a disc that had demos that were not available on their measly Xbox Live at the time. So I remember Saints Row, for example. I was like, damn, I want to play Saints Row. And I saw a buddy of mine playing Saints Row online. I'm like, yo, how'd you get that? He said, it's in the new Xbox, man. I ran running down to the store, down to the ferry terminal. It was on Staten Island, because it was a 24-hour store. This must have been like 2 in the morning, and they had an issue there just so I could fucking get the Saint Row demo and play that.
Like back, like when CD games were out, like, you know, I remember I used to subscribe to a couple magazines. Like I used to subscribe to a Sega magazine. That was after Nintendo Power. I did that for years up to Super Nintendo. And then I used to get EGM and EGM2.
I feel like everybody got Game Informer at one point because of GameStop.
Game Informer.
Game Informer, yeah.
I mean, I still to this day kind of get Game Informer because they keep giving it to me for free. So,
but we used to get Game Informer even before that shit. You know?
Yeah, usually you go in the store, like you go to a Barnes and Noble or a magazine store, and they sell them there, and you pick those up. Game Fan always used to have really, really good screenshots of all the video games. Like their screenshots were really nice and crisp. So yeah. That's how we got our information. Though,
yeah, but as far as like the more modern stuff, I really got into it. I'm talking about the current gaming community as it stands. I really started getting into it around 2008 or so, around the time I got a PlayStation 3. That's when I really started going online and check, because that was also when I had high-speed internet for the first time. I just had dial-up until then, So then, and I quickly discovered Hip Hop Gamer and Torrance Davis. I'm like, I like these guys. And then Dual Shockers, I'm like, oh shit, they got Dominicans doing this shit, So it was pretty cool, man. I was like, hey, wait, I was like, oh shit. Quickly, I realized, like, hey, I don't have to rely on IGN or these other guys. I could just check out the smaller guys because they're keeping it more real,
Dude,
it's funny because as I've gotten older, I have not looked at any sort of real gaming sites.
You don't need to. It's all on Twitter. It's all on Twitter now. You don't need to do that. I don't go to any gaming sites
It's all
anymore.
on Twitter, and to be honest, I mean, I just so happen to know a gaming journalist.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know when.
I mean, you aren't that close, but
we just so happen to know a gaming journalist, and he kind of knows things.
I gotta point this out. I love how the spirit of this answer echoes essentially what we were just talking about on the last topic, where back in the day, this is a weird question to us because back in the day, there was only one avenue. Yeah. There was only one place that you could go if you wanted news. It was all consolidated. Everybody got the same thing. Nowadays, you actually you can ask the question like, well, how did you get into this, and where do you find you're like, what brought you in? Like, there was only one street. You can't it's weird. That's like, how'd you get to the address? Well, back in the day, there was only one road. Now there's a million different roads, so you can ask that question. But when you're talking to old timers like us, there was only one street back in the day, and it was uphill in the snow both ways.
Yeah, that's it. We had Main Street. That was it, man. I don't know what you called it in your town, but we had Main Street. Everybody had the same shit. By the way, off topic, whatever. We're on Twitch now. We go as long as we need to. Basically, I thought about how back in the day, we were a little bit more unified as a culture because we all consumed literally the same shit. Now people consume different things now, so it's kind of weirdly stratified us. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's guys out there, like, for example, this year I learned about this Logan Paul guy. He got millions of subs. I never heard of this guy. You know what I'm saying? But back in the day, somebody of that level, everybody would have known about it. Everybody back in, even if you didn't watch shit like Seinfeld, you knew about Seinfeld. You knew about all that shit. You knew about Cheers and all that. Now everything's just
the communities were smaller.
They were a lot smaller, but now you have like a million TV shows. I'm like, I never heard of 99% of these fucking things. Whereas back in the day, I could tell you every single show on every single network. It's different now the way things are. Everybody's off in their own
watch
world.
this. Let me prove it. Tony, what's on Fox on Friday nights now?
Who the fuck knows, man?
I don't fucking know. I used to.
Hey, X-Files, man. Remember that? Friday nights.
Dude,
I always remember it being on Sunday. That's when they
changed it. They changed it. It used to be on Friday. Yeah.
Here's how big a deal it used to be.
Yeah.
Over 20 years later, over 25 years later, I still know to turn to Fox at 10:30 on Saturday morning because that's when motherfucking X-Men is on.
Yes, that's right. And Spider-Man, it was at 10.
Yeah.
Yup. I remember that shit. Now it's just like, hey, go to Netflix, watch it whenever.
So we can still tell you the airtime of a show on 25 years ago.
Or the way you used to switch channels to get the shows that you wanted to watch. So it's like, oh, okay, so Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends is on this channel. The other channels, they have some stupid BS. Then you go to this channel, then you go to this channel. I remember doing that as a kid. Or sometimes there'd be two shows on the same time on two different networks, and you try to flip between them to kind of
get the gist of both
of them. I remember being able to tell the time just based off what show was on TV. I'm like, oh, it's 3:30 now because DuckTales is on. Yes, I still remember that.
6 a.m. in the morning, they show reruns of Romper Room, or Tennessee Tuxedo.
These aren't, and by the way, people, these aren't random examples they're making up. These are facts from their childhood.
Yeah, these are the actual times. 3:30, DuckTales is on Channel 11,
I just remember getting up early on Saturdays to watch USA Saturday morning Cartoon Express.
With the train?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it had the train, and it's like they're all on the train. I'm like, this is awesome.
It had like Pac-Man and
it was just nonstop cartoons for like, I don't know, it felt like forever. But it started early morning Saturday,
man. It's interesting. Again, and we were very privy of things that came before our time, way before our time. Now kids don't know shit that happened like a year ago. It's like, what was that? I don't know.
It's all old. Like, come on. I used to watch reruns of the Monkeys.
Yeah,
like you said, which was it channel? I'm trying to remember which one.
The Honeymooners and shit.
Dude, we watched Nick at Night. We literally watched the first shows ever to come on TV. We watched all the way back to the conception of television.
Yes.
I would let it after Nickelodeon would go off. What was on there? Friggin' the Dick Van Dyke Show. Watch that.
Yeah, like we watched
the Monsters.
The first Black Green Acres. Like we watched
Nick at Night. Green Acres.
Do they still do Nick at Night? Do they still do that?
I think
it's its own channel now. I think it's TV Land.
Oh yeah,
but you see,
but like it's actually kind of funny when we started watching TV. We literally started watching all TV from the conception of TV until the time that we were living in. We consumed media across that entire time span. Now people are like, "Oh, 5 years ago? That shit's ancient history." Like we literally reached back to the beginning of time as far as TV was concerned.
What was it? I think it was last weekend. We were flicking through channels and I found an old movie that was in black and white. My daughter was like, "What's wrong with this movie? What happened to the color?" I'm like, "That's how movies were back then." And she couldn't understand that. Why? Like, what do you mean no color?
Because they hadn't invented color yet.
Exactly. She couldn't understand that.
No, that's what the world looked like when I was a kid.
My mom, it was like, okay, so I knew enough where everything that when my mom grew up, those things were all in black and white. So that's what I was like, okay, so this is from either before or mom's time or at around mom's time when things were black and white. So that's much as I knew as far as it. So here's me watching reruns of The Magical World of Disney, and I thought fucking Walt Disney was alive because those things were in color.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that Walt Disney was dead until way later, and was like, yeah, he died like over 20 years ago. I'm like, what? But he's right there. He's in color.
Even when he was in color, people didn't even tell me he was dead. They said he was frozen. They're like, yeah, he's frozen. He'll come back soon. I'm like, what do you mean? He's waiting for a cure. I'm like, oh, okay. So in my lifetime, maybe he'll pop up again.
It's because of Bugs Bunny cartoons that I thought the Brooklyn Dodgers were still a thing. You know, it was like, what? What do you mean they're L.A.? What are you talking about?
All of its old stuff.
Yeah, it's like, wait, they moved to L.A. like 50 years before I was born? What?
Yeah, but you just said something that a lot of people don't know. Bugs Bunny. He hasn't carried over into this new generation.
That's right.
You know, where's the new Bugs Bunny? None of that.
They had a show.
They had a revival in it.
I swear, I never see it from movies or anything.
No, but they had a revival new cartoon like a couple of years ago. What was the other thing? By the way, speaking of black and white, it wasn't until it was pretty. I think it was
he dressed in drag.
Yeah, I think I was like 12 years old when I realized that the world was not black and white before 1950. Like, I thought the whole world was just black and white before 1950. Just because of TV, I'm like, oh, yeah, they captured it was black and white. You know? It's funny, man.
Mom, when did color become a thing?
Yeah, it's like, it literally blew my mind. I was like, wait, you mean color's always been real? Like, I just had no idea.
Shit. You know? Just watching something and was it Technicolor and seeing their black mouths and stuff. I'm like, what is this? To think that they went back trying to add color to black and white movies.
Oh no,
it just never looks
Technicolor
right.
Technicolor wasn't that.
Technicolor was an actual technique that was used to. It's an insane process where it involves 3 different types of film: black and white, like red and yellow, and then I guess cyan. It's like a printing, almost like it's printing. So it's all these different color things combined to make the color.
Yeah, Adam, what you're talking about is just recoloring in general. That's what you're talking about.
Oh, no, because I remember I saw a Western like that.
What happened? Well, we're talking to each other. Go ahead.
They did actually color some movies like that. It was a technique, Adam, before Technicolor.
Yes.
And Technicolor came out, and basically, it was cheaper and it was more widely adopted, and so it replaced it. But there was a time period where they actually went through and artificially colored movies.
Oh yeah, like
Wizard of Oz. Remember the Wizard of Oz when they did that in color? What method was that?
That whole film was actually in Technicolor. The whole film was the black and white part, or the sepia tone part of the film, was just filmed with a different sort of stock, but the whole film was all actually just a color film. The funny thing is that in that time, black and white films and color films were common. You could get a black and white. Usually, black and white films were films that were didn't have the budget to do a color film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. On Netflix. There's this documentary. It's like see World War II in color, and they added color to. You seen it? They added color to all that old footage. I'm like, what method did they use? Well,
that's digital that they did. The new stuff that's digital they did.
There is the crazy thing is that in World War II there was color cameras. And there are.
But that's not what they used. I mean, the footage.
No, not all of it, but there were cameras on the market at that point, very expensive ones that could do color like.
Yeah, no, but the one Adam's talking about, because they would literally show you what it used to look like.
They showed.
And then with digital, but it's all digital. That's the way he did it.
Yeah, it's all digital now.
Yeah, but you can still see something like, hey, that's still in black and white back there, guys.
Yeah, but there were color movies that were not Technicolor, that were like literally they went through and colored them by hand.
All those cartoons were in color, weren't they?
No, I'm talking like live action movies. Like I'm pretty sure they did that with it. Like he said, with some westerns and shit. Like before Technicolor was widely available, they're like, oh, just do this.
They used to do some sort of hand coloring on the actual film, if depending on the film. Like old silent films weren't actually always in black and white either. They used to actually print them on different colored types of film. So like sometimes if it would be a nighttime shot, they'd print it on a blue film and everything would be blue. The Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney is actually one of the earliest color films where they actually have a whole sequence of it that's actually in color. Where it was like a 2-process thing. So he was wearing this kind of crazy red outfit. So it was like that. It was like red and cyan and something like that. They combined to make that color sequence. So yeah, they did exist. It's just incredibly expensive to do. We're talking about color.
Yeah, I like how that went off in a whole other tangent. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us. I don't think I have any outro shit here. Yeah, it's good. Chris should be back on Thursday. Carlos will be back in a couple weeks. Hey, by the way, I love how Carlos is out there in Korea having the time of his life, and he still regrets the fact that he can't play Red Dead. He's like, damn it. You know? It's real right now, man.
Hey, man, he could have brought that thing over to Korea.
That's true. Hey, he could have brought his Vita, right? I don't know. All right, man. So thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comment section of this episode on YouTube or over on the Coalition. We'll answer them on next week's show. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. Tonight joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'll see you later, guys. And don't forget to watch the next episode of Throwdown Draws, which was this Wednesday on 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Brett Murdoch.
It's been real, everybody. I'm off to do some cowboy shit.
And Adam Vale.
Have a good week, people.
All right, giddy up, guys. We'll see you next time, man. Later.
Later, people.